Hey, welcome back to Zombie Tactics. This is a follow-on video to the Google Hangout video I did with James Yeager this morning. First of all, thanks to James for bringing this issue, the Gunpocalypse in California, to a wider audience. That's very much appreciated. We had a good conversation about the basics of that, and I promise to follow up with some more information and some links about where you can get involved if you want to. First of all, just a summary about what this is. There are a series of 10 bills that got jammed through the Assembly and the Senate in California at the last second using really dirty tricks. A lot of these things are things that they tried to pass before and couldn't get them passed, but they waited for the right opportunity when the right people were present or not present and just jammed them through, completely ignoring the rules of the House and the legislature in California and all the processes that they're supposed to go through to have this legislation checked out and validated for how much money it's going to cost and all that. They just jammed them through at the last minute, and they're about to go to the Senate. They're about to go to the governor's desk, or some of them might be about to go to the Senate first. But these series of 10 bills, and some of them overlap, I'll give you links that you can research this more on your own to find out exactly what they all are. I don't want to bore you by reading the text of 10 bills in a video like this. Just really quickly, if they're passed and they're upheld, this is exactly what they will do. They will ban the sale of almost any kind of a rifle that looks anything like an AR-15 in California, regardless of whether it is .22 caliber or whatever. If it looks like an AR-15, if it looks like an AK-47, it will ban the sale of that rifle in California. Period. End of story. In addition to that, people who already legally own rifles like that in California, semi-automatic rifles that are magazine fed, things like ARs and AKs. Right now we got to have this stupid thing called a bullet button in California that makes it kind of harder to change your magazines. You can't do it just as fast. Well, they are going to say, all of you folks who own those rifles right now, you must register them with the state, and the state is going to keep a database of the people who own these so-called assault rifles. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what else will. But hey, even more scary stuff. One of these laws will do one of the two things. It will either create a system whereby you have to do a background check every time you even buy a 50 round or a 25 round box of ammunition to maybe go shoot at the range for the day. It will completely outlaw any ability to import ammo from out of the state, meaning you can't drive to Nevada, get a case of ammo and bring it back with you. You cannot mail order ammo if this law passes. And there'll either be that background check when you want to buy it locally, or there will be a process whereby the state is going to create some kind of an ID card, and again, a state registration of gun owners, kind of an enemies list if you look at it for the anti-gunners, that everybody in the state who buys ammunition, you're now on a government list. Scary, scary stuff. There's other things that are a part of this. One of the ones that's the worst, and this is the last one I'm going to mention, but there's a lot of other scary stuff in here. If you lend a gun to anybody for any reason, you're now a criminal. There is no such thing anymore, if this law passes, of going to the range and somebody saying, hey, you got one of those M&P shields. I've been wanting to try one of those out. You mind if I take a couple shots through it? And you're at the range and you go, like most people would, sure, try a couple rounds, see how you do. I mean, that happens all the time. That would now be a crime. You cannot lend a gun to anybody for any reason, even that temporary on the range, not even in a training situation where you might be in a class and maybe your gun breaks and the instructor has a gun that he can lend you. Well, he can't do that anymore. That's a law. It might even be a felony under this law to do that. They want to do a thing with magazines where right now you cannot buy brand new magazines in California that hold more than 10 rounds. They want to make it so that they are going to completely outlaw even the simple possession of any of those magazines. So all of those people who had them before, like me, and got grandfathered in that those magazines are legal to keep and repair, even though you can't buy them now new. No, you're now actually a felon. And the way that law is written, strangely enough, is it has some language in there about the parts used to create such a magazine. So some legal analysts are saying things like, well, on a Magpul magazine, the base plate and the follower is the same for the 10-round magazine as it is for the 30-round magazine. So you could argue if somebody has a 10-round magazine, they have some of the parts that would be used to manufacture a 30-round magazine. So you can't even have the current design of a 10-round magazine because there are parts in common with that 30-round magazine. That's how crazy this stuff is. All right, if you listen this far, this is really the point of this video. You need to get involved. I don't care who you are or what state you're in. The way these laws go is going to affect public policy nationwide in the United States for years to come. So whichever way this goes, it's coming to your state sooner or later in some form or another. And you may beat it back, you may not. You may want to put on your team jersey and say, well, that'll never happen in my state because we're way cool. But the risk is there, and it's already happening in some cases. There are laws we have in California now that people in Oregon and Washington said, well, that'll never happen here. I'm putting on my Team Washington and my Team Oregon jersey. But guess what? They passed some of those laws now in Oregon and Washington. It comes from California, and like a virus, it leaks out to the rest of the nation. You stop it here, or it's going to spread. The point is, don't be fat and happy if you're somewhere in the country where this nonsense isn't going on. If you're in a place like Arizona that's got great gun laws, some of the best in the nation, don't just sit there and say, well, I'm just happy. I'm happy I live in Arizona. Move here. That's not really an option for a lot of people if you think about it. And if all you're doing is sitting there fat and happy and saying, hey, things are great here, you're really not in the fight. So I'm going to list an organization here. It is the prime organization fighting this fight right now, and that organization is the Firearms Policy Coalition. It's based in California. I know the people that run it. This is not some charity where the guy who runs the thing is going to be driving a Maserati and looking for a brand new 300,000 square foot house or something like this. This is a genuine deal. These people are in the fight, and whether you know it or not, they've been behind and involved in some of the national level cases that have been recent wins. So get involved. Don't be one of those people who always has some comment to make, but you never get involved. I'll tell you this. I talk to people all the time that I say, why don't you give $10 to this cause? Or why don't you become an NRA member? And they've always got an excuse. It's like, well, I won't join the NRA because if you join the NRA, they send you a letter asking you for money every month. Really? You can't just take the letter and throw it in the trash? Yeah, you know what? If you donate to the Firearms Policy Coalition $10 or whatever, you'll probably get an email every couple of weeks asking you for more money. If you really can't stand to see that in your email box, right-click on it, hit send to spam, and you'll never see those again. The point is, get in the battle right now. We need you in California in a way that we have never needed you before. And this is why I'm making this video, to ask people to do something that I've never asked anybody in a video to do before, which is give your money to this cause. The organization, again, is the Firearms Policy Coalition. I'll be putting a link to the laws that I discussed, as well as a place where you can donate or read more about this. The time to get in the fight is right now. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that lets everybody else do the work for you, because I'll guarantee you, you can take it to the bank. I'll bet you money. If this stuff does not get stopped in California, it's going to spread. Please help us defeat this. Please do whatever you can. I sound like a guy on, doing the fundraising thing for public television, but whatever you can give, $10, $20, whatever you can do, every little bit helps. We need nationwide people to get involved in this. In addition to giving that money, if you'll take 5 minutes and fill out a form or write a letter to the governor of California, believe it or not, Governor Jerry Brown is not an entire anti-gun nut. He has vetoed bills in the past based upon public pressure, where he has taken a look at it and he says, this is too controversial, or it costs too much money, or something like that, having to do with gun rights. So don't think that you can't affect this. If you're in California, if you're out of California, get involved, give $10, $20, whatever you can give. Please, if you can, write an email, write a letter to the governor of California asking him to not sign these laws and to in fact veto them. And I will be forever grateful for you. That's probably the last time you're ever going to hear me on this channel asking anybody to do anything monetarily. So I appreciate it if you understand that I'm only doing this because it's really that deadly serious, not just for California, but for the nation and for the way Second Amendment rights are going to go in this country. I don't want to argue with you right now about whether or not you believe that. There's like 90 years of history showing that as goes California, so goes the rest of the nation. But please, if nothing else, just out of simple respect or to get me to shut up on this issue, go to the Firearms Policy Coalition, give your $10, send an email, help us win this fight so that the line stops here. We draw the line in California, and it goes no further. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this video, and thanks for putting up with the plea for money. Please get yourself involved. That's Zombie Tactics for the day. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.